Well, good morning. This is Sean Cheek with Talking Baseball. As you notice, it's a little dark. It's 5:30 in the morning, heading to the airport. But man, I had such a passion for this video I wanted to share. And this is primarily for parents, but to also encourage some instructors out there and coaches. I want to tell you about a situation and I want to help you deal with it, because I think it's one that we're seeing more and more. As there's so much expectation placed on kids at small ages, and parents are looking for instructors. They're looking to get their kid an advantage, and I just want to set the record straight on a couple things. For me as an instructor, and I don't want this to sound the wrong way, but here's the reality. I could care less if your son or daughter makes an all-star team. That means zero to me, because here's the reality. If you're looking at, if your son or your daughter, they want to, play high school baseball or college baseball, even at a young age, it's something in their heart. Do you know how many coaches in high school, how many coaches in college, how many recruiters, how many Major League Baseball scouts, how many director of player developments are going to ask you, what was your 6U son's all-star team? What was his batting average? What was his record? They could care less. And not that those things aren't important. I'm all a believer in playing baseball and playing it at different levels, but there's an expectation on kids these days that to me is unrealistic, and there's a focus on performance instead of development. If you have a focus on development, the performance will be there. And, I had a situation that took place, it's quite comical actually. I had worked with this kid for just 2 times in a group setting, and he had some very fundamental flaws that we were addressing, and I was working hard to correct those. And he had a 6U assessment for his all-star team and did not do well at all. Well, his dad flipped the lid and started blaming me, started saying that I didn't know how to instruct, and looking for someone to blame because his 6-year-old didn't perform well on an assessment. Well, number one, what is a 6-year-old assessment? I think it's quite ridiculous, actually, to assess a 6-year-old, but that's beyond the point. Mainly, I think parents need to understand that there's temporary and long-term success. And I found it when I was young too. There were kids that were 10, 11, 12 years old that were so much better than me. And they had some very, very major flaws, stepping out, dropping the arm slot. And, this little boy, he had the same thing. And he had some success because, coach pitch, you can throw it right there where you want to. And they could be successful. Well, I worked hard to get this kid, now I say hard, 2 times, to get this kid having a solid approach to the ball, not stepping out, not pulling everything to left field. Well, in assessments, he didn't do his old habits, and so he didn't hit the ball very well. And so I think it's important that for parents, especially if you don't have a lot of baseball knowledge, to understand that there is temporary and long-term success. I'm focused on development. I'm focused on long-term success. I'm not focused on, your 6-year-old hitting 900 in 6U baseball. This, to me, is very comical. Even my son, has developed this year. He's not the best on his team by far, but he has one of the most fundamental swings that's going to carry him a lot further as he develops athletically and he develops mentally. And so, I want to encourage, for one, instructors and coaches, because I think, a lot of parents are always looking for someone to blame. 7-year-old's not performing well. Listen, take a deep breath, relax. You know, these are young boys. Let them focus on development. Let them focus on doing it the proper way to prevent injury and to give them long-term success. You got to have a big picture, a big vision, a long-term vision for kids. Don't look at the now. If I looked at the now, my son, I would say he will never play baseball in his life past this year. But I know that's hogwash because I know how kids develop. And so, have realistic expectations, you know, on your kids. Look for a coach. You know, if I'm a parent and I'm looking for somewhere for my kids to play, and whether it's an all-star team or a program, you know, my first question to that coach is, what is your focus? And if they come out of the gate saying winning, I'm shutting it down. I'm looking somewhere else because I'm not concerned about my 6-year-old winning the World Series at 6 years old. I'm wondering, are they going to reinforce a proper arm slot, proper footwork, proper mental piece of the game, and those pieces that will help him be long-term successful, not just enjoy an all-star and a championship ring at 6 years old. So anyway, have a great day. Blessings to everyone, and I'll talk to you soon.